Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had a good day and welcome to Home of Politics. My good people, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been on a tour of 2 months in USA and is still there. Daily, he is doing engagement meetings with his supporters in the United States of America. But in his process, he came from Kenya, knowing very well that he will meet his expectations of winning the trust and the interest of the Kenyans diaspora. But up to now, my good people, these Kenyans diaspora have not been satisfied with his engagements, and so we don't know if he will manage to hit the target at the end of this tour. But it is really disappointing that some of these people have not yet been contented with this meeting. This is evident during one of the interviews whereby there was a question that was posed to Rigathi Gachagua directly about the strategy he's going to use on the issue of tribal politics and issue of one-term movement, because some of the people feels like he is doing a lot, but he has not met the expectations.
My name is Valentine Wanjiro Githai. I'm here for representing the 625 movement, so June 25th movement. We are a number of us. Some of us are here, some of us are still coming, and we are Gen Zs. And Mheshimiwa, we are here to tell you the truth. And if we don't tell you the truth as Gen Zs, we are doomed to fail and Kasongo will be back in power. And that is the truth. We have many questions, but because of time, I won't address the questions. I'll just stick to the point. You need, Mheshimiwa, to start positioning yourself as a national leader, not as a tribal leader. And I know many people won't like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. The first mistake that has been done in this event is speaking Kikuyu. And me, I'm from Madeira, Karandi. You may take Wito, so not everyone knows Kikuyu, but I know a little bit. And unless that is addressed, then all this will be for nothing. Because the moment we position ourselves as Kikuyu, another tribe also positions themselves as a certain tribe. And before we know it, we are back to the same problem. I watched a speech about you in Boston, and the speech was a good speech, but there's something you said that Kikuyus are more hardworking. I'm paraphrasing, economic. We've grown the country. But we have done that because we are a beneficiary of the system of Jomo Kenyatta. We cannot say that there are other people from other tribes who are not hardworking. They are. It's just like the whites here. We have that sense of entitlement as Kikuyus, and it has to stop. And if I don't say that, I will not be telling Mheshimiwa the truth.
By the way, did I explain myself on the narrative of tribalism? Did I make sense?
So what I'm wondering is, if we Gen Zs don't understand the mountain narrative, how are you going to engage us and find a way to position yourself or position this politics beyond one term and beyond the defense of Mulima? And by the way, I'm not embarrassed to be Kikuyu. I'm from Kirinyaga and Nyeri. You know, you can't get Kikuyu than that. You know, I'm very Kikuyu, but we have, you know, but that's just the truth. How are you going to convince us? Because, you know, I'm trying to explain to you the way we see it, right? There is that pride, yes, you know, of being a Kikuyu. You know, but there is also a people who don't see that. And we as Gen Zs are saying we are tribeless and we are fearless. And the politics being done now is the way it was done 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, and that is what is really scaring us, because if we divide ourselves, if you say you're coming to the defense of Mulima, then there's someone in, I don't know, Rift Valley or Western, who will also say they are going to that defense. And then there will be another group, I don't know, in, where? Coast, yeah, we are going to that defense. And then now, there will be a vacuum gap and then Ruto will become president.
I feel you, and the Gen Zs will help us deal with that nonsense because they are tribeless and they are fearless and they want.
And so, my good people, he was unwilling to tackle the question directly as it was posed to him. I don't know if he decided to avoid that conversation with the issue of tribal politics, the issue of the targets and one-term movement, or what he intended to do, but he did not give out a clear answer or response to what he was asked about. It is not these questions alone, but there are other Kenyans who have been asking critical questions to this leader, but he has been beating around the bush, not providing a clear feedback to these people so that they can be satisfied. And so, as we speak right now, ladies and gentlemen, then it is very evident that as much as he is putting more effort to do consultation in the diaspora, there is a lot of weaknesses that are being seen in his politics. Number one, we are sure that the Kenyan's diaspora are not contented with this politics. This is because you see them attending the meeting, they are very happy. They are very happy to see their fellow Kenyan, but when it comes to time of questions and critical discussion on political matters, some of these people express frustrations in the questions they are asking. They feel like they are not given the surety of what they deserve, or their questions or their uncertainties that they are having are not yet answered. So there is a gap between the politics or the narrative of opposition leader Rigathi Gachagua and the trust that the people are entrusting in his leadership in future. Number two, we understand that this Rigathi Gachagua has positioned himself as a Gen Z leader. But surprisingly enough, you can realize that that question that was posed was from a Gen Z who is from Mount Kenya, the backyard of Rigathi Gachagua. But the question was not answered clearly. This tells us that the Gen Z are now losing interest in the politics of Rigathi Gachagua. Why? It is because the Gen Z of Mount Kenya, they feel discriminated from other youths in Kenya, from regions like maybe Rift Valley, Coastal, Northern Kenya, many other regions. They feel they are discriminated because of this discrimination and tribal politics that their leader is doing. And if they feel tired of this politics, then it means that Rigathi Gachagua is risking to lose the support of these Gen Zs, because boldly speaking, some of this conversation, Rigathi Gachagua is not ready to tackle the issue of discrimination of these youths. That's why they feel discontented. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand that before you go and accept to be questioned openly without restriction, you are very prepared with the answers and the type of questions that the audience is going to ask. But one problem with this Rigathi Gachagua, he is going there, but he has no strategic communication, whereby he lacks preparedness. And so, being unwilling to answer a direct question, being unwilling to tackle what he has been given, it means that he was not ready. He was not having strategic communication, whereby he did not have open-minded idea, whereby he was thinking the questions will be straight to what he was expecting. But unfortunately, this caught him unaware. And so lack of giving direct response to what he has been asked just shows that he lacks preparedness in these consultation meetings or in these engagement meetings, because if you ask a question, you expect a direct answer. Especially a leader like this one should have been all around ready if he is going in a meeting to meet with his people. And now that he has not given provided a good answer to this question, then it tells us that he is unwilling to engage in this topic called tribal politics. He is not willing again to change his strategy from being a regional leader to a national leader to represent the face of unity of Kenya. He is not willing to be given advice or to listen to what these Kenyans need. And so lack of strategic communication, then it really showed that this leader was not ready to explain himself on critical matters. My good people, this issue of being unwilling to answer questions just shows that he is not ready anymore to be given issues that are very touching in the bottom line, because the issue of alienating Mount Kenya from other regions has been a serious issue and is like a daily song, and he cannot avoid it anymore. My good people, we can see another weakness that this leader is having in his politics. It is now clear that people who surround Rigathi Gachagua cannot advise him on critical matters, cannot warn him against the impending dangers or his decisions that he's taking. Because if a Kenyan diaspora can realize the mistake that this leader is doing and decides to question it directly, yet we have able leaders who are surrounding Rigathi Gachagua, leaders like Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua, George Natembeya. We have this Senator Seku, MP Seku, we have Senator Medhu, we have Senator Karugo Dhangwa, a lot of leaders with sharp minds who can advise their fellow on certain matters. They are very shy, and maybe they feel if they take this issue to be a serious thing, then they are risking the coalition, or they'll be seen as the people who are fighting Rigathi Gachagua. And so this act of failing to accept to be advised or to be given direction on certain critical matters is what has exposed his weakness in the USA, because this Gen Z just decided to show the world that even if people are following Rigathi Gachagua, then they should understand that the issue of regional politics and issue of dividing the Gen Zs maybe according to regions is not a topic that will end now, because she did not receive the right answer. And this tells us that Rigathi Gachagua is the final say in his coalition, and no leader can advise him. And so operating in such a direction whereby no one can be advised, no one can tell you what to do, is a dangerous one, because since he started his opposition role as a politician, then we see that some of the things that people have been criticizing so much is issues to do with regional politics, this issue of discrimination, this issue of tribalism, and he has not yet taken any measure to rectify on it. And so it really tells us that unless Rigathi Gachagua decides himself to change his narrative in politics, decides to change the perception of politics from regional to national politics, then he is going to risk his influence on these youths he calls Gen Z, who are together with him. Remember, right now he has a very competitive candidates. Some of them include this former CJ Maraga, who is willing to do the narrative of the Gen Zs. And so this shows us that if he cannot be ready to do what the Gen Zs are willing to direct him to do, then this influence will migrate, and there will be a division of support. Some of the Gen Zs will migrate and follow William Ruto, some of them will follow Maraga, and he will remain with less influence. So ladies and gentlemen, according to this analysis, you can send me your opinion, your question in the comment section, and thank you so much for supporting me. Have a good day.